Yes, welcome back. Another episode, Dynasty Theory. Now, everybody's probably thinking, John, was there an episode last week? Because it wasn't on the podcast feed. Dan and Mitch held down the fort, a fantastic episode. Unfortunately, it's available. It's out there, but it is only on YouTube, and this was not because I wasn't on the show. It wasn't sabotage. There was a storage issue through StreamYard, so the episode is available. Like I said, on the YouTube channel, but not available on the podcast feed. But we're back. And there he is. Dan, what's up, brother?
Absolutely stoked tonight, gentlemen. It is like 33 days before the Cowboys season opener. Dynasty and DFS season is arriving. And I feel tonight's episode is very important. You know, not only are we zoning in on the latest news and hype surrounding NFL practices and making sure that our listeners aren't overreacting, but you could also be so consumed by the amount of camp news we're trying to catch every little bit by these beat reporters at practice that, like, I needed to zoom out yesterday and just kind of keep things in perspective. So really look forward to diving in tonight.
Yeah, and it's nonstop. And we talk about this. There are pieces that we should be reacting to, but it's finding that balance between reacting just the right amount and overreacting. And hopefully somebody can keep us in line here with some really grounded takes. And I think it's going to be Mitch Sorensen. What's up, Mitch?
Easily. I mean, the show's great and everything, but in about an hour, I get to watch Hard Knocks with the Detroit Lions. And that's really all that I care about this week. You know, normally, you know,
whoa.
The football season is like Christmas. This is Christmas. And then in 3 to 4 days, I get to see you guys in Canton, and it's like New Year's Eve. So it actually works out really well.
Well, that's when the party is going to happen. That's when the party. Anybody that's listening, the Dynasty Theory gang will be out in Canton, Ohio for the Fantasy Football Expo. If you're there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you have any desire, hey, where's JB? Where's Mitch? Where's Dan? Shoot us a DM. Hey, let's grab a drink. Absolutely. I think a few beverages will be shared. Well, not shared. We're not going to, COVID still a thing. So we're not going to be sharing beverages, but you get what I'm saying here. Anyway, I still have never watched an episode of Hard Knocks ever.
And don't discount this for Mitch, JB. I mean, Detroit Lions fans have not had a lot to be excited about in a long time. Like they're trending up here. So I think Mitch is stoked. This is really kicking off his season.
I know, Mitch, you said you don't watch it, but I will be watching when we're done here. When I edit it, when I get it on the podcast feed, I'll be watching Only Murders in the Building.
Nope. I think my wife watched that one without me. That's the Selena Gomez one, right?
Okay. It's the Martin Short and the Steve Martin one with Selena Gomez. But yeah, it's a good show.
No, it's the Selena Gomez one.
Whatever. Anyway, so let's talk about the name of this episode, Camp Stories. We're on the campfire, baby. We're roasting those marshmallows. Hopefully it's not in our Discord. Anybody that's in the Discord, they know the meme that was created in there, the marshmallow guy from Ghostbusters. Traylon Burks. So hopefully it's not a marshmallow like that, but we have a lot of players that I'm throwing at you guys tonight. And I want this to be a really open conversation. So it's not going to be, Mitch, what do you think here? Dan, what do you think here? Just wherever your brain takes you, whether it is from the real life NFL perspective, but also throwing in and tying it back to Dynasty and where we stand on it, just wherever you go. So you guys have free reign tonight.
I like it. This is going to get off the rails a little bit.
It is, but it's unusual that I give you guys free reign, okay? But then also with each player and situation we discuss, once you guys do your little run through, I'm going to be putting you to the test in a rapid fire. Dan, it is a rapid fire. I can't tell you how many times we do a rapid fire, and I got to cut out so much dead air.
It's not dead air, JB. I'm trying to make sure our listeners have what they need. They are number one in my heart, JB. Not our time length of our show. Although tonight we got to be ready for Hard Knocks, so I'll keep it rapid fire.
but nobody wants to just hear, that's like the Dan Lamagna soundtrack. Anyway, guys, let's start out with New England. You can tell, you always know whenever I miss a week.
Yep.
Because I come on all fired up, and this is just me drinking tea. Just wait until this weekend in Canton. Mitch and I are doing the Pivot Point live Saturday morning. Dan, if you were staying in our Dynasty Theory suite at the hotel, you'd be on the show with us, but you're not.
We'll see what this weekend brings. Maybe I'll just crash it. Maybe I would just crash your room. I mean, anything is possible this weekend.
Yeah, security. Yeah, we have an intruder on the premises. All right, so we're going to start out in New England. There's a lot of questions, and I can't say on air what I have regarding Matt Patricia on the show notes because, like, Dan likes to keep it clean. We're going to keep it PG. I was already suspended last week for some verbiage, but so Mac Jones, the New England offense, Mitch, you're familiar with Matt Patricia.
I sure am.
His methodical offensive guru style that he brings to the table. Is there any concern there? What are we looking at with this offense? How do you think it impacts Mac Jones? What are your thoughts overall?
To be fair, Matt Patricia is horrible, but it could also be Joe Judge, who is just as horrible. So it's the thing, Belichick is going to right the ship. Like, that offense is going to end up being okay. But I really think that's all that it is. Outside of Damian Harris and Ramonde, I don't want anybody on that offense. I don't care if Devontae Parker looks like their wide receiver one. I don't care about Mac Jones. If someone comes and offers me anything of value for a Mac Jones share that I have on my teams, he's gone because I think he's just like the most replaceable quarterback that there is in fantasy. No rushing upside. Yeah, he's safe because he's young. Cool. I could find another young, safe quarterback who's not going to do anything. Kind of like Tua.
Dan, oh wow, the Tua jab. We're 7 minutes in, and Mitch gets the Tua jab. But let's stay on topic. Hold on, hold that flag. Hold the red flag over there, the challenge flag. Mac Jones, he is that safe young quarterback. And he's that guy that, yeah, he's my quarterback too. Okay. He's in that New England situation. So you have that little bit of stability, you feel like, right? But Dan, is there really any upside there? Or are you with Mitch that you'd be looking to move on, whether or not any of these reports came out with the way this offense has looked?
I kind of enjoy that stability here a little bit. I mean, there's some quarterbacks we have on our rosters that you could be holding your breath with, when you go, a little bit deeper, is Danny Dimes going to hold a job or not? There's a half dozen quarterbacks that in a year or two, I mean, who knows what happens? I'm very confident that Mac Jones is going to be in New England there for 5 years. And I like to think he's only going to get better as I think the Patriots hopefully are trending up. If we want to just backtrack to the Patricia news, I'm in between not thinking that this is relevant at all because the GOAT is overseeing operations and we'll figure it out by week 1 or shortly thereafter. But then I'm still balancing it with critically thinking that the GOAT set his offense back some this year by not adequately replacing McDaniels and some of the coaching staffs that left. If you go to the New England Patriots website and you look at their coaching staff, like they don't even have an O-line coach in place this year. They have an assistant O-line coach, but they don't have an O-line coach. They don't have an offensive coordinator. And I know Belichick says, hey, we'll get the job done and the titles don't matter, this and that. But I don't know. Did they miss a little bit and it kind of stunts things for this year? But he always does figure it out. He bounced back after a one-off year, getting some pieces in place. They spent on free agency, 2 years ago, and I think they're trending up. But the kid's talented. He's a winner. These Alabama quarterbacks are winners. And you put them with good coaching and weapons around them. Now I'm a little more enthralled with Tua because I think I see a little bit more of a passing attack there versus New England. They're going to ground and pound a little bit more and play good defense. So, I definitely see Mitch's point. He's not a league winner, Mac Jones, by any means. But if he's my QB2 in a super flex, I'm content.
That's the thing. You're content.
Sorry, I was just going to say real quick that you're content, right? Of course. How easy is it to get Jared Goff right now? You could get him on almost any Superflex roster you want. Jared Goff is more than likely going to outscore Mac Jones this year. There's a decent chance that the Lions are good enough to not have a top 10 pick this year, which also means they're going to have a super late pick with the Rams, They'll have a middling pick with their pick. Maybe they can't get that 23 quarterback. Maybe they go with Jared Goff again. Do you want Jared Goff for 2 years, or do you want Mac Jones maybe for 3 years?
But you're discounting the fact that they're like you're saying Mac Jones for 3 years.
Okay.
What are the
do you
odds
want
that
Mac Jones for 10 years? Who on your team that's that type of quarterback do you want on your team at all to begin with, besides the fact he's young and we assume he's stable, but as we found out with multiple young quarterbacks the last few years, they're not as stable as what we think they are.
And I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I'm obviously the ceiling is lower. You know, I know every quarterback doesn't necessarily need to be the dual threat rushing quarterback, but those are the exceptions rather than the norm at this point in time with the way the NFL is going. And Mac Jones, he is offering you that stability that Dan talked about, but it is still replaceable production. You know, especially if you're in a league that rewards 6 points for a passing touchdown, that's going to bring a player like Mac Jones down. Now, that is unless we can count on some type of uptick in volume and production. And is that going to happen? I don't know. I don't think it does. Based on Mitch and my projections here, we have him as a not even a quarterback 2, to be honest with you. But then it comes into play when you look at your dynasty roster. Do you want that stability at the position? Do you want that longer term outlook and pair that with mediocre performance? Or do you want maybe a slightly higher ceiling or go the other route and pivot to a Jared Goff plus? I would like to think that Mitch isn't just advocating for Goff for Mac Jones.
No, of course not.
I just want to clear it up because
Value dependent.
All right. So a lot of that primarily focused on Mac Jones because, you know, the running game, Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, I think both offer the value and production here in 2022, but neither of them from a value standpoint are highly sought after. Dan, I think it's safe to say you're still targeting both of those players, at least Damian Harris. I know you're a Damian guy.
I have so many shares of Harris and Stevenson in all different formats, but definitely Dynasty. They're 2 young backs. They're talented. They're in a perfect running back system. I just think there's a lot of opportunity there. And hopefully if that running game takes shape, that opens up the doors for Mac Jones. You know, teams are going to zero in on trying to stop the run. They believe New England's going to do that. You know, hopefully he has a couple games where he does pop off a little bit. I also see Mitch's narrative with Jared Goff. There's a perfect storm kind of lining up in Detroit there. I know he's drinking the Hard Knocks Kool-Aid, but that offensive line is really good, and DeAndre Swift is really dynamic, and St. Brown's coming off a great year, and then you go bring in Shark, and Jameson Williamson's going to come in healthy at some point. There's a lot to be excited about there, and they're trending up. So I think you just have to fear that's the Detroit Lions, and, you know, we need to see a little bit more of it, you know, to be a little bit more confident, but that could buy Goff a little bit of time there. But as a dynasty owner, I hate just not feeling confident and being able to just have those quarterbacks where there's a lot of certainty. Now, maybe I'm a little bit of a hypocrite too, JB and Mitch, because I don't have any Mac Jones shares, you know, so and I've got enough dynasty rosters to say I should, but I'm investing more in their running backs and I am investing in quarterbacks elsewhere. But if the opportunity presented itself, I'd be very comfortable with Mac on my roster. Does
it concern you with those 2 running backs that they do offer the limited upside in the passing game? Like, I don't want to say they're plotters, but they are going to be touchdown dependent.
It does. You know, it doesn't have the exciting upside that, you know, hey, we're trying to win our league. I think if I do have Mac Jones on a roster and he's my QB2, I expect to be much stronger in other positions as a contender. You know, maybe that means I have one of the, you know, the elite tight ends, and my running back and receiver positions are really stable because I've invested more there. And that's why I have Mac Jones as my, you know, second quarterback. Ideally, to your point, Mitch, or JB, is your projections, he'd be even better as your third quarterback. So you're a little less reliant. You know, maybe you have someone with an offensive upside like a Kirk Cousins or a Derek Carr, or, you know, pick your quarterback as your 2 that you would be better off, and just have a young quarterback in the wings and you see how he develops.
Now, these are actual trades that took place in leagues where managers pay to be a part of these leagues. These trades start out okay, but when we get to some of these other players, I want to know what leagues these are, to be honest with you. Not to be too critical, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So we're going to do throughout all of these, we're going to go Mitch, Dan, Mitch, Dan, Mitch, Dan, all the way through. There's going to be 4 of these, okay? We have Mac Jones. It doesn't matter if we have Mac Jones in the roster. All right, Mitch. Mac Jones or Alec Pierce in a 23 first. And these are all 12-team super flex.
23 first.
Dan?
Same.
Mac Jones or Trubisky in a 23 first.
23 first.
First. Hey, and Trubisky even buys you time.
Mac Jones and a 23 first. So we're pairing them together. And this is a 12 team with 12 starters per team. So Mac Jones and a 23 first or Matt Ryan and Mike Evans.
Mac Jones.
I agree with that one.
Yeah.
And then let's see if we get the clean sweep. Last one, Mac Jones or Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12-team super flex.
Sun God.
Normally, I'm going to go with the quarterback because your rosters need that. So I'll take Mac Jones, but that's close.
I'm also going Mac Jones, but I don't mind. I love those other pivots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 of them. I don't like that Matt Ryan, Mike Evans one. Clearly, that's one where somebody thought they were looking to contend, and they want the upside with Matt Ryan, and then the 12 starters add Mike Evans. But I think I haven't seen personally Mac Jones for just a 23 first.
Nope,
I haven't seen that. And if you're telling me that you're able to pivot off of him, and ideally I'm getting more added on, but if I think there's a very good chance it's a team that is not a playoff challenger here in my eyes, that 23 first is going to look super appealing with those running backs coming out.
Yeah, that's a huge, just taking Mac Jones out of it, just a player of that type. Someone giving you a 23 first for that type of player isn't enhancing if they make the playoffs or not.
Mm-hmm.
So anything like that. I mean, there's going to be other players that we talk about throughout the show that it's the same boat, to where if you could get a draft pick for that player, they're probably not going to help the other team win anyways.
I got to give a shout out to one of the comments in the chat, and I know it says Corey on there, but it's fake Ron from our Discord. He says this Matt Ryan slander won't stand in Canton. We have dudes coming in from the UK to hang out with us. It is going to be a fantastic weekend. We have a great group of folks coming in, and then hopefully next year we even grow that with our little group within the larger Fantasy Football Expo convention. But yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. All right. J.K. Dobbins, my guy, activated from the PUP list on Monday. Yesterday. It's Tuesday today. Mitch.
It's needed. It had to happen. Like, I was really worried that his value was going to continue to plummet.
It was falling.
If he comes back and he's healthy and he's showing that, he's not missing training camp for any lingering injuries, some hamstring issues or something like that, how high is his value going to go? Because Gus Edwards probably isn't going to play week 1 is what they're saying. So then what, you have Mike Davis behind him? I mean, I think his value from now until the first week of the season is going to continue to rise until the point to where he's like head and shoulders above the Antonio Gibson types.
I offered a trade earlier today, last night. It was a 2-for-2 swap. And I don't blame this manager for not accepting. I would have rejected if I were them too. But I was sending my Dobbins in the trade and asking for Josh Jacobs back. And they said, and there were other players involved, but they said they preferred Josh Jacobs to J.K. Dobbins straight up because of the injury concerns. So if we can get through these next few weeks without a hamstring popping up, because we always know the hamstrings, it seems like that pops up whenever these players are coming back from an ACL. I do agree. I think we could see Dobbins. I mean, with the hype of Barkley, Eckler, Chubb, depending on what happens with Deshaun Watson, I think Dobbins could get back up into that top 9-ish territory. I've attempted to move him. A lot of people, even if he was on the PUP, not on the PUP, there were those injury concerns. How is he going to come back? That was a question mark for a lot of people. So I haven't been able to move him. I'm constantly looking to move and acquire everywhere. And Dobbins, not necessarily a player that's been moving a lot. Dan, are you as optimistic here with Mr. Dobbins, or are there other question marks for you?
I'd say I'm with the optimism. And my concern might have been, maybe it sounds a little milder than it was for Mitch, but him returning is definitely reassuring. And I think you gave that example of those, a trade with Josh Jacobs involved. And I think that's where he'll most separate himself. Not that I would have even taken Jacobs or Miles Sanders or an Allaire before Dobbins before, but what I would have done was, if we're in a draft often, is like I would take that stud receiver where I would have normally taken Dobbins and then settled for a Jacobs or an Allaire or Sanders or, Gibson or someone I like, and Elijah Mitchell, whoever it is that would slide to me, and be happy. Where I think if we see more of Dobbins being healthy, now I'm going to hop on Dobbins and I'll probably take the wide receiver in the next round. So I think it secures his place. And then, as you mentioned, JB, he has an opportunity now to even climb higher once we see how healthy he is, because it's the opposite of the Mac Jones syndrome where, hey, we don't like that New England system. It's not as tight. It's not a quarterback friendly for the fantasy world, where in the running back world, I know it's been a little bit overblown, maybe a little bit over the years, but the potential is there to get a lot of, especially the way they've drafted extra tight ends, a lot of work and volume in Baltimore.
Yeah, I know obviously the concern from a usage perspective is, will Lamar Jackson utilize the running back in the receiving game? Is he going to vulture carries inside the 5? Is it going to be Mark Andrews' time when they get closer to the end zone? So there are valid concerns. The challenging part here is, and I'm always one to do this, if we get a positive report, not a blurb, not a hype piece, but a actual positive news, a player activated from the PUP list, it's really difficult to go out and acquire that player at that time, right? So I would let it sit for a while, maybe not necessarily go out and look to acquire him. But if you were somebody that might be out on Dobbins, I see Kevin in the chat, and this is a conversation, oh my goodness, might have been even over a year ago. He had Dobbins on a roster. He didn't want Dobbins. He was trying to move him. Nobody else in the league wanted him. But now, if you were stuck with the J.K. Dobbins, this is the perfect time to strike in my mind. Now, a few trades, again, actual trades that have gone down. Dan, I want to start with you. Then we'll go to Mitch on each one. I have 4 trades here. Some of these are layups. So, okay. Dan, J.K. Dobbins, and assume 12. They're all 12-team Superflex. All right. J.K. Dobbins and the 2022 106 for Nick Chubb. These all were done in the last 2 days.
Dobbins in the 106.
Easy.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, that one was yesterday. I'm wondering if it took place before the news came out that Dobbins. So take these with a grain of salt, because now we have him being activated. So you both are taking Dobbins in the 106. Dan, Dobbins for Cam Akers and Josh Palmer.
Cam Akers and Josh Palmer.
Akers.
Are we buying into, we're getting conflicting reports? You already know what I'm going to say, Mitch. We're getting conflicting reports in Los Angeles. A lot of beat reporters are saying it looks like a 50-50 split. Every drill, it's Henderson and Akers. The comments that McVay is throwing out there. But then we get the report today. I don't know if it was another beat reporter. Cam Akers. It's Cam Akers.
Mm-hmm.
He's the running back one in Los Angeles. What are we doing there in general? They're kind of throwing you guys off guard here with Cam Akers, but really quick.
I love this one because I love Akers. And I think I went on record. You have to find it on YouTube because JB put us into oblivion in the podcast world last week with a lot of my shares. Mitch and I were talking about relevant best ball, like our most relevant running back we took in best ball that translates to Dynasty. And for me, Cam Akers was one of my guys. I just love. I never bought into the beat reporter thing. I just think it took time to heal. And as we're having this conversation, it just makes me think, hey, if we know a team is still going to build around this guy for a few years, maybe we need to be a little more patient and a little more aggressive going after the Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins of the world, because boy, what a value it is when they come back. And like you said, John, we can't obtain them now, or it's a lot harder to.
I would venture out, and looking at it from the Darrell Henderson perspective, maybe you get a 23-second from a manager that's been seeing it seems to be 50-50. Yeah. And Cam Akers coming back from the injury. He didn't look good at the end of the season last year. Maybe you could find that manager. That might be a situation where I'm blasting out the offer to everybody. You got a 23-second, you're getting an offer from me. Maybe that's what I'll do tonight, but only after I finish watching that fantastic show that I mentioned.
I was just going to say real quick on it. I think Akers is going to be the one that gets the high value touches, and that's what I care about. I think that offense is going to be really good. Who are they going to give the ball inside of the 10? Henderson if he's healthy, or Akers if he's healthy? I think it's going to be Akers every time. So that's why I'm really high on him. And they don't throw the ball to the running backs there. I really don't care who's on the field for third down because they're probably not getting the ball anyways. But as far as who is a running back who could end up leading the league in rushing touchdowns that no one's talking about, I think Akers is easily at the top of that list.
It could be, but I fear that his limited role and involvement in the passing game, it's going to, like, Damian Harris had how many touchdowns last year? Like 15, 16, 17. And he was still only, I don't even think he was a low-end running back one still. And it's because of that usage in the passing game. So I'm not saying Cam Akers is Damian Harris, but there is a story to tell and look at for both of those running backs that while Cam Akers might be getting additional hype now, I would probably be looking to move him and looking at But
when you look at this trade though, like Akers or Dobbins, they're in the same tier, so it's a free Josh Palmer for me.
Isn't it kind of the same though? Shouldn't we be moving from Dobbins as well?
That wasn't in relation to that trade. Just to specify. Just to specify.
Isn't everything you just said about Cam Akers specifically apply to J.K. Dobbins as well though?
Oh, certainly. But
I was just wondering.
Would you be surprised? Let me look at our projections really quick. Not to get too sidetracked. Not to get too sidetracked.
We're 30 minutes in. We have like 6 more topics to go.
Don't worry. We'll get there.
Rapid fire.
Hold on.
Rapid
this is my
fire
fault.
down
this
the
is on
tubes.
me.
And I'm the one that gets the lecture for rapid fire.
You know what? Forget about the projections because they don't tell the story that I was trying to tell. Next awesome. Trade, Dan. This is start 12. 12 teams, start 12. Depth is important. Maybe I'm kind of skewing it one way here. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Christian Kirk, or Austin Eckler?
Dobbins, Sanders, Kirk. Give me the depth.
Same.
Does it change if it start 10?
No. Start 9 maybe, but not 10.
What if it's start 10? Now we're really changing it. Start 10. Dobbins and Miles Sanders or Austin Eckler. Take out Kirk.
Dobbins.
Still Dobbins?
Yeah, for me it is.
I'm a little high on Sanders, so.
All right. So a lot of consensus here. It's very rare. Very rare. Dan, Dobbins or Damian Pierce in a 23-second, 12-team start 10?
Dobbins.
Yeah, smash that.
Yeah, the Damian Pierce, I didn't like him pre-draft.
We're gonna get to him.
That's just a big gamble. You know, that's too much.
And these are my freaking show notes, and I forgot that I have him creeping there. Okay. All right, Kareem Hunt. He requested a trade. Cleveland didn't approve. A minute later, he's catching passes at practice. I mean, what are you doing with Kareem Hunt in general? Like, I don't know if there's going to be much of a change in his role there this year, but I feel like he's valued fairly low across the board. He's just that slightly older running back, but when he plays, he produces even with Nick Chubb there.
I would just say, for me, I've been out on Hunt since last year. So for me, he's like Jamal Williams. Just
come on.
But no, his value's higher, but I don't think he actually produces that much better than if Williams gets all the work because Swift is out. I'm completely okay playing Williams in that case.
But Hunt doesn't need Chubb to be out.
Very true. But I also don't want to put that kind of back in my lineup.
A back that gets fantasy points?
I think Mitch is drinking the Hard Knocks Kool-Aid now because we haven't seen that upside of a Williams.
He's had too many hard
Swift
ciders.
Out,
getting ready for Hard Knocks.
He isn't a back that I want on my teams. He is. I think you could find that upside somewhere else for a lot cheaper. And I think that's been the case with that for a long time.
No, but okay. Yep. So let's just get to it here because
give me Damian Pierce in the second there. Now we're talking.
Agreed. Smash.
But that's not what he's going for. Watch, that's going to be one of the trades I'm going to be
That's Mitch's point. He's going for too much. What do you got? Give us some rapid fire on Hunt.
All right,
I'm out
Mitch.
on him too.
Mitch, again, these are all very recent trades. Kareem Hunter, Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
Smash.
Kareem Hunt and a 23 first or Devontae Smith. These
Well,
are all
that's not
12
fair.
teams, start 10.
I want the 23 first over Devontae Smith by himself.
I know.
I think so, yeah.
Where are these trades getting done? Okay, here's an interesting one. Mitch, Kareem Hunt in a 23 second or Miles Sanders and Paris Campbell?
Miles Sanders and Paris
Okay,
Campbell.
come on.
Agree. Smash.
Wow.
Listen, Mitch and I were sharing a room in Canton. If you happen to wake up in the middle of the night and I have a pillow over you, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Okay?
I'll be for my snoring more than anything. So that's
I'm gonna Kareem Hunt in a second. Dan, who did you take there?
Miles smash too. I mean, I just
There's no way. What world are we
starting
living?
back and
What happens to this show whenever I go away for a few days?
Dan
And
I
just
start to agree. It works out pretty well, actually.
just for everybody, everybody's awareness, that was my last vacation. People were probably thinking JB's on vacation every other week, but that was my last one for the year. Okay.
I see our chat blowing up with Hunt. So obviously everyone disagrees with Mitch and I get that. I mean, it's the Philadelphia Eagles running back situation has been so polarizing. It's tough to stomach, but I'm kind of looking away from the past and just seeing how incredible that O-line is this year for the Eagles. And he's playing for a contract. I know Gainwell's still going to be in the mix, but I don't see someone else mixing in there too much. I would just rather Miles this year and going into next year and forget the second. Hopefully Paris Campbell will give me a little bit of production in that trade.
You're losing out minimally, like almost non-existent difference in points per game this year, in my mind, between Miles Sanders and Kareem Hunt. And you're giving me a second. I know that Paris Campbell hype's picking up, but boys, he just mispracticed with a hamstring issue. The guy is made of glass.
But it's Miles alone. Character counts in Coach Dan's fantasy locker room, all right? And Kareem Hunt loses there, JB. Give me Miles Sanders.
The Cowboys fan says character.
such a hypocrite when Jerry Jones is bringing in. Don't get me going.
All right, Mitch, Kareem Hunt or a 23 second and 24 third?
What was that again?
I myself going for Hunt if I think I'm using him for depth, but not my starting lineup. Because I don't think he's going to improve my starting lineup enough to make those picks late. So it would be team specific. So I'd probably just go with picks to be safe.
And what was that one more time?
Kareem Hunt or 23 second and 24 third?
With Mitch, yeah. Kareem Hunt. I love trading picks. Give me an extra running back this year.
All right, Mitch. I think this one might be easy for you. Kareem Hunt and the great Antonio Gibson or Cooper Kupp?
Cooper Kupp. Man, Mitch, we agree so much tonight. Oh, God.
All right, Treylon Burks, the Marshmallow Man, getting a lot of work with the second and third teams. Can I read some things here?
Please.
So there was a report on Twitter from Nick Mencio. Treylon Burks is lining up wrong and running the wrong routes this summer after not being able to pass the conditioning test in the spring. Seems to be well behind Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook, and even fellow rookie Kyle Phillips on the hashtag Titans wide receiver depth chart. And then Mike Herndon comes in, he retweets it and says, as the writer of the tweet that this is based on, I feel the need to clarify. Burks also worked with Tannehill. He lined up wrong once. He did not run the wrong route, just didn't run through the route like the wide receiver coach wanted. He's largely been good, sometimes very good in camp.
That's a big difference.
The guy that the report was based on, his quote, comes out and says, Nick Mencio, what are you talking about, dude? Yep. So I feel like Treylon Burks might be, he's got to be one of the most, if not the most divisive rookies in the NFL this year for fantasy purposes.
Yep.
Do you think that is that factual?
I think it's true.
It is. And we heard in all the Twitter hype we've been listening, one of the Titans coach say, hey, we ask things of our receivers that other teams just don't ask. So they're putting him through the ringer here. But that's the importance of not overreacting to initial news. Process it, review the source. We talked about just keeping little notes there. Okay, Nick Mencio, let me remember what he's reporting. And look for the reactions to the news. Join our Discord. Let's break this down a little bit here and before you make any hasty decisions. But there is no way in this high heaven that Nick, whatever his name is, Westbrook Akini, is going to hold off Treylon Burks. So I'm not even phased or worried about it. But yeah, he's going to run with the first team right now. He's a hardworking kid who's going to run the right routes. And, they got to break some habits out of Burks, but he's going to be fine.
Here's the thing too, Kyle Phillips, he's garnering that first team action. And I think I'm right around 30%, maybe 25% rostership. Shockingly, he is still available on some waiver wires. So if just check your waiver wire, see if he's out there. I have no issue unloading fab if necessary. And Dan has all the fab in the world because he's been acquiring it in every trade. But back to Kyle Phillips, the dude's a slot receiver. So he is getting those first team reps when they're running 11 personnel.
Yep.
Traylon Burks, he's not going to be lining up in the slot very minimally. So it is going to come down to Nick Westbrook and Traylon Burks. And let's see how things progress over these next few weeks. And we just need one preseason game where Traylon Burks just goes nuts. Even just one catch, one really nice catch. You guys know how it works. Get one highlight video. So with all the news, all the jibber jabber back and forth, Mitch, you and I, we were fairly high on Traylon Burks coming in.
Yep.
Has your stance changed at all? I can say I've been firm. I've not.
I've been firm too. Yeah, no, I'm really happy with all the shares that I have. Since you said we could just talk about whatever we want. So Establish the Run podcast talked about this 3 weeks ago. And I think if anyone doesn't listen, this bears repeating. There's a lot of, they're not even beat reporters at this point, but they work for like SB Nation, or now Sports Illustrated kind of has their own team reporters. And this is nothing against the reporters themselves. They're young kids trying to get their start, writing with what they see. But it'd be no difference than any fan going to a Denver Broncos practice and tweeting things about what's happening with Russell Westbrook. It's really what it is. But
Westbrook, what's Russell Westbrook doing?
Well, he could play for the Broncos. That I get one of those in each show. But
you're always dropping NBA players.
I know. I have no idea. I don't even watch the NBA anymore. But it's, where was I going with that?
The reporters.
Yes. Yeah. So just because they have the check mark, now everyone's retweeting them. And we see them in our rumor mill in the Discord to where you go and actually click on the person. They're like, oh, they write for SI, whatever. And like I said, it's nothing against the person. It's just, we need to be very careful of the people we are listening to. And we know, I'm like 90% certain Nick Menzio started with Roto World, or he's still on Roto World, one of the two, or NBC Sports Edge, whatever it is now. All they are is a clickbait website now. Like, it's what they turned into 3 years ago. It sucks, but it's what they do. So you have to be super careful with all this stuff now. And fantasy Twitter loves doing this. They take one little snippet of a sentence and they turn it into a big deal so they can argue over, so they can get their mentions up. It's, as far as actually winning in fantasy and all these, none of this stuff matters. The fact is, when you look at what the coach says, when you look at what the actual beat reporters say, Traylon Burks is fine. He's doing more than what they expect him to do in training camp, and that's what we care about. Someone else who isn't, Christian Watson, on the other hand. Like, I have a lot of shares on him. I'm like, dude, he might not even be on my team by the end of the season.
I have 2 shares of Christian Watson, and they are both in co-managed leagues that
it's my fault.
It's okay. Listen, it's okay. But I almost had that perfect 0%.
I think you have to be patient there with Christian Watson. I go back to, again, just watching the film. That kid was impressive. He's in a great situation. He's not healthy right now. He's got to get healthy. Because I thought about him the other day. What's the difference between him and Jamison Williams? And I know there's a big difference in talent, okay, from where they were going. But the expectation on their team, we're all going to be patient with Jamison in Detroit. Why can't we be patient with Christian Watson in Green Bay? What's the difference as far as being patient, I guess, would be my bigger point there.
I think the issue with Jamison Williams, we knew he was injured coming in. If Christian Watson, if we knew he was going to miss a large portion of the offseason program, he would have slid.
But they're both missing the same amount of time.
But that preconceived notion, we knew Jamison Williams was missing time.
But I would just say don't panic and dump him.
Oh, no. I was being a little facetious there. But
I know that, but people will. You know they will.
Completely off script. I'm not buying into Dobbs at all. Like, at all. I think he is the Marquise Callaway of this season, to where everyone's going to drop everything on the dude, and it's not going to pan out.
If I could get a 23 second for Dobbs.
Please.
Ship him off. Just yeah, there were things coming into the actual NFL draft. I go through my rookie data and my thresholds, and he wasn't hitting many of the ones that I would have liked, and that's why he was slipping in rookie drafts. But now he's getting the hype. You can deal with it if I can cash out.
I just want to add too. I'm gonna pick on one of our Discord chat members here. Whoop, not Kevin, wrong one. Jameson Williamson's played against legitimate talent. Again, not comparing the two, believe me, night and day. But if you are a dynasty owner and you believe in a guy, whether it's a Traylon Burks or pick the rookie, don't give up on him this early in camp. And that's just kind of maybe the coach in me. Hey, if this team invested in him and you believe in him where you drafted him, give him a chance. Don't be that impatient.
Yeah, and I mean, nobody's advocating for bailing on anybody. If there were actual news coming out, something concrete, okay, I could see some adjustments. But overall, not much has happened.
Buy low.
A lot of BS, to be honest with you, and we got to dig through it. All right, Dan, Traylon Burks trades. I got 6 here that I pulled. Okay,
Holy moly!
we'll get through it quickly. All right, Dan. Okay, this one start 13. Traylon Burks or Hollywood Brown plus Jacoby Brissett.
Burks
for Pickens, Paris Campbell, and a 23 second.
I'm gonna go Pickens just because he's my boy.
I'm gonna go Burks, but I think the value is actually on the Pickens side.
Burks plus Noah Brown. Noah Brown creeping in a trade for a 23 first and a 23 third.
23 first. I'll take that.
Go with the first.
You're getting the insulated value. You're if Traylon Burks were to fizzle out here early, not to say you completely dump him, but that's a pretty good cash out.
When I look at
you have any if you are a little bit nervous.
When I look at those type of trades, I look at where I valued Burks this year to where I'm valuing next year's 23 first, and I value those player higher than Burks.
Burks plus Waddle for T. Higgins and Olave.
Higgins and Olave. I was afraid Dan was frozen there for a second, to be honest with you.
I know.
Yeah, I'll go Higgins and Olave. That's close.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it comes down to more T. Higgins than anything else.
Yeah.
Mitch, we were just DMing about T. Higgins earlier. Burks for Olave plus Calvin Ridley.
To me, it's Burks for Olave. Sorry, I think we skipped, but I'll go Burks.
Okay.
I'll go Burks. That's tough, though. Oof.
No.
Yeah, I know Mitch is completely out on Ridley, and we don't even know if he's going to be back next year.
Could be free Calvin Ridley.
I know. You know what? I think I would. I'm not the one going through the rapid fire. So Traylon Burks or Terry McLaurin plus Malik Willis.
Burks.
I'll go McLaurin and Willis.
Willis, I don't think I have any shares, maybe one, but with McLaurin and Burks being the same tier for me, I'll take the free Willis and see what happens. Maybe I could flip him for anything else. All right, Josh Jacobs, heavily involved in the Hall of Fame game, a little bit more than people would have liked. But now Josh McDaniels has come out and said they are not interested in trading Josh Jacobs. Dan, any reason to be concerned, or is Josh McDaniels just bringing over some of that Patriot BS?
Maybe even neither. I mean, I'm not concerned. Zamir White looked like he had a little bit more juice that night, but every one of those running backs kind of looked good versus the Jaguars' sister of the poor backups. That could flip just in preseason game number 2, where they have more time playing with that O-line with some, new schemes in the run game. And, Jacobs might pop off a little bit and Zamir White might have a little bit of struggles. So I think Jacobs is the man. He's in a contract year behind a good O-line. I think I'm not too worried.
Jacobs is someone like I love in redraft, in DFS, and best ball this year. I still have a really hard time acquiring him in Dynasty because I do think it could just be this year. And maybe he goes to a spot that's the exact same maybe he doesn't go to the Houston or the Miami backfields that we all like. Maybe he goes to the Giants. Maybe he goes to the Patriots. And then it's like, well, we get 2 more years of this and so be it. So while I still really like him and I'm completely cool if anyone wants to go out and get him, I'm personally not going out and really getting him.
I've been trying. I blasted out, I think, 30 offers over the last 2 days, and that's might be lowballing it, to be honest. It's been tough. People are standing firm with their value of Josh Jacobs. If they have him, they like the talent. They're not reading into what happened in the Hall of Fame game. And again, just the fact that he played multiple drives. And I'm not reading into it either because I'm going out and acquiring him, seeing if anybody's a little bit lower. But there is that concern, Mitch, like you mentioned. We talked about this earlier in the offseason, that contract situation. Josh McDaniels coming in. How is he going to be utilized? Is he going to be getting those dump offs that he got last year? Are we going to see Zamir White if those ACLs can hold up? But I am a little bit more optimistic, I would say, based on his price overall. But I'm not going to go out and overpay to acquire him, and that's kind of what it's going to take. We have a comment in the chat. McDaniels wants Jacobs to shatter and allow him to install his preferred backs. Hopefully Jacobs can outlast and make it to a good landing spot, either via trade or next season. Yeah, I mean, we really never know what's going to happen when a new coach comes in, even though Josh McDaniels does have the track record with Denver and then obviously as the OC there in New England, but we don't know how it's going to play out for the Raiders. But, at potentially a deflated price, give me Josh Jacobs. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. All right, Mitch, start us off here.
Yep.
Jacobs plus a 23 first for Devontae Adams.
A 23 first. I want to know how these trades happen, to be honest with you.
Dan?
Jacobs in the first.
Jacobs for a 23 second.
Jacobs.
Holy cow.
Come on, people. Wake up. Jacobs in a 23 second or AJ Dillon in a 23 third?
AJ Dillon.
I disagree.
I mean, that was super close.
Yeah, I'll take Jacobs in the second.
I mean, if that ends up being a 13th, 14th, 15th overall pick, Jacobs, I mean, I prefer Jacobs over AJ Dillon straight up. So now you're giving me the bump in the pick. So for me, I think it's close, but for me, it was fairly easy just because of how I value the two backs. Jacobs. So this, like I said, some of these trades, you'll raise your eyebrows. Jacobs plus Zach Wilson, 12-team Superflex, or Jared Goff and Melvin Gordon. Who the hell is making this? Joy, if you made that trade,
I want Zach Wilson. I don't care about Jacobs in that trade.
If you made these trades, join the Discord, please. Join the Discord. The Discord is free. The Discord is completely free. Join it. We can steer you a little bit. All right. So Josh Jacobs, that tells me he is still attainable. I just haven't had luck, but I believe that you guys can. All right. Damian Pierce. Quote, Damian Pierce has been mentored by Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead. He has generated the most big plays of any running back at camp and always runs behind his shoulder pads, maintaining a low center of gravity. Buy or sell that positive blurb there. I mean, I had a tweet. It was a retweet of one of these Damian Pierce hype blurbs. And I said, hey, I played basketball against my 2-year-old last week, and I was the best player on the court. You're playing against Marlon Mack, who, returning 2 years out from the Achilles, Rex Burkhead, who is 39 years old. It seems like he's been around forever. I would hope that Damian Pierce is the one shining out of the group. I'm still not sold.
And for some more context there, JB, this early, like we're not even preseason yet as far as the actual games with the Houston Texans. Rex Burkhead and Marlon Mack know the drill. They're staying healthy. They're learning. They're executing what coach wants. Damian Pierce is probably running like a bat out of hell that knows like, hey, I'm fighting for a starting job. He doesn't know any better. Just like Zamir White, you're going to see that juice. I mean, this is their first NFL action, man. These rookies' eyes are so big. I mean, you're a reporter at practice and you're seeing this young kid fly around. You're excited. But let's see what happens a little bit later on. So I temper the expectations with that hype news, but I'm glad it doesn't say like Damian Pierce sucks. I mean, like that's good. I give him a Ramondre Stevenson comp going into the year. He reminded me of Stevenson a little bit on film. So I like the kid. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we talk about those different thresholds. This was something we really talked about, and I talked about in the Discord and the Patreon. But with the rookies, and the data that I have put together with like I said, the different thresholds, Damian Pierce, he did not check a lot of the boxes, and then the draft capital seemingly lining up with that. I don't want that day 3 back. Like, to me, this feels almost like Michael Carter all over again.
Which worked out pretty well if you moved him when you were supposed to. It worked out extremely well.
Who's looking to buy a Michael Carter share right now?
Well, you don't sell him now. You sell him when he was doing things last year.
But again, it comes down to the change in the class. You were moving for 22 picks last year. Now we're looking to move for 23 picks. Mm-hmm. If Michael Carter did that, you weren't getting a 23 first.
Oh, yeah. You were getting 22 first, though, which I was more than happy with. But
stay with me, Mitch.
Okay, I'm listening.
If Michael Carter did what he did last year, this year,
okay.
If he does,
so you're saying Brees isn't around. You're saying Brees is gone.
Brees isn't there. Michael Carter has the same exact season he had last year as a rookie. Mm-hmm. You're not getting a 23 first for him.
You can lay one for him.
I don't think so.
I think so. I don't think Damian Pierce is going to hit that hype. But
no, and that's why I'm catching up.
This is why I was okay picking him with all my mid-seconds that were around. I was happy to get him or Algier or whoever, because I do think there's the hype to where you could end up getting, might have to add a little bit, but you can get a late 23 first for people making a push late in the year. That's going to happen. People like money more than like draft picks.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Oh, wait. Are you sure about that?
I know. I was like, if you're not on Twitter, that's actually true, but Twitter, not so much.
This comes down to, and we got into this an episode long ago, earlier in the offseason, but if Damian Pierce were to do what Michael Carter did, what would he go for? Is there the risk next year them bringing somebody else in? Absolutely. Yep. If he were to fail early in the season, and I say fail, if he just doesn't give you immediate production, so not necessarily fail, that was a bad choice of word there, but if he doesn't give you that immediate production, his value, it is going to drop. So if you would move him for a 23 second plus right now, I would take that. I would hedge, take that, kick it down the road one more year. And ideally, I'm attacking it from a strategic standpoint where I'm looking at teams, and that 23 second very well could be early. Ideally.
I can see that.
I
don't disagree with any of that.
Okay. And I just want to say this about Michael Carter. I think he has standalone value, kind of like a Kareem Hunt. I think he's a talented kid.
Yeah, this
is an offense that's going to play 2 running backs. And I think this kid will play himself. Like, let's say Brees Hall becomes a star. I think Carter will play himself into a contract somewhere else. It's just that he's a talented kid. Like, I just don't give him away, I guess is my point.
Nobody's giving. Listen, you guys love to put words in my mouth. I'm not saying.
We didn't disagree with you, JB. We agreed with your points.
And you still
we're just adding context to Michael Carter.
No. I'm not.
I want him. I want more than the 42% dynasty shares I already have. Not like I did a year ago. Brees Hall has stole his thunder, but I want him on my rosters. I want him for depth. I want him as.
But again, my point being, if you would have cashed out at the appropriate time,
hey, how much
I should
have to cash out on last year, John?
How many did I have?
Yeah,
I will gladly share this information once I have it.
I'll just say not a whole lot.
I'm pretty sure my rostership was just as high as yours from a percentage standpoint.
Because of our co-owned teams.
Get out of here. All right.
Rapid fire. We're 54 minutes. Hard Knocks is coming on for Mitch.
Rapid. Damian Pierce. I almost said Damian Harris. Damian Pierce or a 23 second, Dan?
Pierce.
That's that's the line of I want a little bit extra added to either side. Damian Pierce plus a 23 first or Travis Etienne and a 23 third?
Etienne.
I'll go with the
Why are you trying to fire sale?
I'll go with the draft pick and Pierce.
I'm going to take Etienne.
It's close.
Damian Pierce plus James Robinson plus a third, or David Montgomery?
I'll go Monty.
I'll go Monty, but then I want to move him.
Yeah, that's kind of an ugly trade
fair.
all around. But that's kind of it seems like the value, the range overall is right around that 23 second. There were multiple peers for 23 second trades. So whatever side of the coin you are on, if you can commit to that, if you have conviction, that seems to be the tipping point. So go out and get yourself Damian Pierce for that 23 second, get off him for that 23 second, maybe add a little something.
And
Matthew
I could see the ETN side. I just am that high on next year's draft. I just wanted to throw that in there. So it's kind of like a free Pierce to me.
Yeah, and again, some additional context would be very useful.
Yes. Yep.
Is my team garbage? But we would like to think if we're actively acquiring a running back like ETN, we're in a position to contend. I would hope. Matthew Stafford dealing with pretty bad tendonitis in his elbow. Unusual for football players. Let's just get straight to the trades, and this will show me if you're concerned. Mitch, Stafford for Davis Mills plus Hunter Renfrow, 12-team Superflex. Stafford plus a 23 third for Jared Goff and a 24 first.
Stafford. I'm not that patient.
Stafford. I don't love it, though.
Oh, I would smash. Stafford, Allen Robinson, Javonte Williams for Jalen Hurts and Stephon Diggs. What are people doing?
Stafford.
These are actual trades in the last 2 or 3
Javonte might be
days.
worth the other two by himself.
What are people doing?
That's
Stafford
sweet.
for Tua. Dan, Stafford or Tua?
Oh, that one could actually happen right now, I think.
I mean, they all happened.
No, I think
I'm a Tua truther. I'm going to have some conviction. In Dynasty, it's painful, though.
Stafford.
It's great you have conviction, but you're wrong, man. You're wrong.
Tyreek Hill, Waddle.
Based on my professional opinion, which carries no weight, there's no reason to worry about Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, there is. You like him,
There's
so
a
he's
little
injured. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, Mitch said I'm putting the curse on everybody. Matthew Stafford, who Cole Turner just got injured. Gallup, Charlie Kohler, he sports hernia.
Pretty much anyone you like.
I know. All right, Naheem Hines. And I quote, I've heard a lot of two-back system. They're going to work with him, using him out of the slot with Jonathan Taylor, not in place of him. One thing they got frustrated with last season is they felt like Naheem Hines was underutilized in this offense. All right, from a beat reporter. So Naheem Hines or 309.
Hines.
Naheem Hines for Samaje Perine plus a 23 third.
Hines.
Juju plus Hines or Treylon Burks.
I'll go Juju and Hines.
That one's super close for me. Again, I'm not putting myself through the rapid fire, so it doesn't matter. Naheem Hines and another one, 305. So we're going Hines there. But that, again, this is just showing the price point, the tipping point, 23 third. If your rookie draft hasn't taken place yet in 2022, a mid to late third is going to get it done. And for a depth piece, bye week fill in, if you're in a deeper league, that's a player that could contribute and could help you along the way.
Final thoughts.
Minute and a half left, boys. My final thought, Canton this weekend. Like I said, if anybody's going to the expo any of the days over the weekend, hit us up. Love to hang out and meet everybody. And make sure what the heck was that? Make sure you are not buying into every single blurb that is coming out. And make sure just the depth charts are all coming out, right?
Yeah.
Just breathe, relax. What, Tyler Algier? Who was it? Was it Algier that was the running back 8 on the depth chart? Somebody, one was just released and they were the running back 8. Who's carried 8 running backs? Come on. All right, Mitch, final thought for the listeners.
Just going to say, I say this multiple times throughout the year, update your trade bait and list what you want. I did that in all of my leagues. Well, about 50 of them yesterday. And I got easily 10 to 12 trades done in the last 24 hours. And I didn't have to put any effort into it besides just posting my trade bait and what I like. It's worked out lovely.
Yeah, God forbid Mitch put in any effort whatsoever.
Yeah, we don't
Dan, what
want
do you
that to
got?
happen.
Just 2 quick hits. Expo again in Canton. Sunday, I'll be at a booth called Charlie's Huddle. We're going to have some cool giveaways. I think we're going to have a Boomer Esiason signed jersey, some power tools, some Fitbits, some cool giveaways, and a free t-shirt just for coming to the stand. So please come to check out Charlie's Huddle. And then I'm also going to have be emceeing the DFS booth there. So hopefully, some of you will visit. We'll talk a little DFS. I get to cheat on John for a half hour or so. And then it'll be Dynasty the rest of the weekend. Diving into O-lines. I'm going to be diving into defenses and DFS next. So we will get some more clarity to all these beat reporter news in the upcoming weeks, man. Hit us up on Twitter and in our Discord.
Mitch, our goal between the two of us, we got to get Dan a little liquored up this weekend.
Oh, that's going to happen.
I would like to see Dan a little buzzed up.
That won't take too long, boys.
All right. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll let everybody get out, watch Hard Knocks. For Mitch Sorensen, Dan Lamagna, I'm John Bauer. We will catch everybody next week. Have a great night.